Good evening, SM viewers. This is Satellite Media, and this program is Satellite Discourse. We want to have conversation on what is happening in Nigeria currently. We understand that Labour and federal government of Nigeria have been engaging in serious discussion to fashion out a living wage that will be good for Nigerian workers. At the point, federal government came up with tripartite committee involving leadership of organized labor and some members of some persons from the private sector. And as at the last count, before this celebration of 25 years of unbroken democracy, we understand that the government presented a position saying they will be paying 62,000. A situation that have made Labour talking. They have said they wanted to wait for the president to make an input, but surprisingly, during the celebration of Democracy Day, the president made a categorical statement that he was going to send a bill to National Assembly to regularize the outcome of the negotiation from the tripartite committee, and this came as a rude shock to organized labor. For according to them, they have never, at no point, they reach any compromise, any conclusion. Mr. Chinedu Michael, welcome to this program.
Good morning, good day. Thank you for having me.
Before we go into the business of the newspaper analysis, let me have your view. Labour is saying no, we have not arrived at any compromise with federal government, and Mr. President is saying we are going to send a bill to National Assembly. Understandably, that should be 62,000. First of all, is that 62,000 adequate? Would this be an ambush against Labour, seeing that Jajero himself is not on ground, though he has somebody who is holding brief for him? Let us get your view.
I think at this point, Labour himself have shown they are ready to negotiate whatever with the federal government, and they are ready to go as far as carrying Nigerians along in that regard. They are also ready to put some certain things on ground for Nigeria to see how far they are going, trying to protect their minimum working arrangement wages so far. But you see, the federal government itself have not been able to come out very transparently for Labour to be able to pin a particular figure down at the end of the day. The government is like playing hide and seek game. It is not new to Labour. Labour knows what they are doing. They know how to handle them at the end of the day. And for government to go to that extent of trying to get some things through the back door will not go well for Nigeria and Nigerian Labour at the end of the day. They are still going to come to a situation whereby the table matter will also be involved, where a lot of both parties will sit down and get to a level where everybody is going to come and they agree. Yeah, this is where we are going. This is what we want at the end of the day. If not, the Nigerians should be expecting another round of strike at the end of the day, and this one might be very devastating. You can remember the last one we had, almost the entire nation was thrown into darkness for at least 24 hours, and it wasn't a funny thing.
Mr. Chinedu Michael, a good point you just mentioned, because so many Nigerians were of the view that Labour were not patriotic, particularly when they shut down the national grid. Was it too much, or did they go to the extent?
It wasn't too much. The leadership of this country has never shown any respect or leadership, to Nigerians, to citizens, not even on Labour. Labour is just talking about there are a lot of people who are not in that contest, but have private companies that they have people employed in, what of people who are self-employed? How are they going to struggle over this arrangement? I believe that should be an adequate atmosphere consultation, that will carry everybody along at the end of the day. There are some companies who are likely not be able to pay 60 or 100,000 to workers at the end of the day. They will just shut down. And you can see what is happening. And most of these companies now are being bought over by some element that has been traced to be friendly or friends of Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the years. Like the issue of Guinness that came up. So to an extent, if they actually provoke labor to that extent, labor have shown a lot of patriotism. If they shut down, that means it shows that to an extent, labor really mean business. They are no longer joking, because it has gotten to a level that government always take them for granted at the end of the day.
Okay, let me quickly take you to the newspaper. We have the Punch here. The major headline is saying federal government warns of mass sacking as Labour disowns agreement. But Mr. Chinedu Michael, I think this is coming from the government angle, because there's fear from government angle that government have always said it, that the amount the Labour is asking for, as at the last count, we understand that it's 250,000. That one is unrealistic and unsustainable. That may force federal government to engage in mass sacking, to be able to pay perhaps the number they would have, to retain the number they will be able to pay. Looking at government, whether I call it threats, you may not be wrong. Looking at this position of government, is it advisable that Labour should settle for 62,000?
It is not advisable at all. Apart from corruption, the Nigerian Labour can put government in check. There's a lot of corruption that is going on even in the states at the federal level currently now as I speak to you. If Nigerian resources are properly, harnessed, then they can be able to accommodate, even up to 100,000 minimum wage. Yes, they can. Because most of them, you see, they are billionaires. They have looted. They have so much resources, but to get the workers themselves, who are the productive sector, of the country, to at least enjoy the wholesome benefits.
Sorry, I think I have to put you on hold, because I understand that we have two people online who are already on comment section. I can see Mr. Ben Tons. He's saying, yeah, you are handsome. Maybe he's talking to you, Mr. Chinedu. I can see another person that goes by the name of Volo. He said, hey, guys, I will subscribe. And let me use the opportunity to encourage our SM viewers all over the globe to make available. The comment section is available. You can join the program, comment, and follow us as we take you through what is happening in Nigeria.
Yes.
As we bring it to the center.
Yes, these are the things we shouldn't leave outrightly to conventional media to look into, because they are not as thorough as there are some gray areas that we don't want to step in. But at this point, we want to encourage everyone. We'll be coming on live, to discuss national issues on satellite discourse. That's where we get some of the things that you cannot hear somewhere else, on this platform. So away from that, what I'm trying to let the say on this platform is that the government can conveniently pay 100,000. It's not too much for them if they're able to show that spirit of patriotism that they want Nigerian workers at least once in a while, to feel like human beings. They are also human beings. These other guys in India, as politicians or whatever you call them, they are sitting on billions. They waste Nigerian resources up and down at the end of the day. They sit on contracts and all. But if these things are properly harnessed, the government can conveniently pay labor 100,000
Okay.
naira minimum wage.
Now, Mr. Chinedu Michael, let me take you on this because we are seeing another issue. We understand that during that Democracy Day celebration, so many things happened. We saw Nigerians file out on the streets protesting what I would call hardship. And the Punch is reporting something like that here. It's a hashtag end hunger. Protesters seek end to economic hardship. I understand you witnessed what happened particularly in Lagos here. Do you think the government is on the right track, particularly when it comes to issue of hunger in the land? Government are constantly tell us that we are making proactive measures, we are taking proactive measures. What we are doing is a necessary pain that definitely there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see that way?
I don't see any sign because if you look at what the protesters were saying, the interviews they were granting, their expression and everything, there's no sign of light in the tunnel. I'm not sure even whether Nigeria is in the tunnel because of
See light at the end of the tunnel.
At the end of it. So but the fact is this: Nigerians came out, I think, to make a statement yesterday. And from an observation around, you discover that, some of these people that came out to took to the street, asking federal government to look into the issue of the high cost of things, things are getting out of hand. People can no longer buy even ordinary gari. One of the protesters was saying that he can no longer drink gari. You know what that means in a society, where families can no longer be proud of anything at the end of the day. They were trying to tell the whole world that Nigeria might end up, seeing a revolution, a bloody revolution coming from the streets. Yes, that was what they were saying because Tinubu has failed. They made it very clearly that Tinubu has failed, and you can see they called him all manner of names. But what we are looking at is that we didn't see a national spread of that hunger protest. We didn't see that energy coming from the Nigerians. We didn't see that connection. That will tell you that the people are getting tired of Nigeria as a nation and want the spirit of that patriotic spirit is no longer is lacking automatically. And the integrity of those who were behind the protest, who are supposed to convene as of the protest, we are also questionable because these are some of the people that saw that disrupted the programs of Jonathan as at that time, and coming back talking about somebody like Omolo Sowore, we know his antecedents under Jonathan, the kind of propaganda they did, even when Jonathan was trying to remove subsidy, all manner of things, So people are beginning to see when this kind of people come out and say that they are moving on the street over hunger, people begin to question their honesty, their integrity, and you can look at the kind of statement he made about Obi recently, So you see, there's a serious disconnect as I speak to you now. Nigerians are confused; they don't know who to trust anymore. But if you look at the kind of arrangement they had yesterday and what people were trying to say, they meant it and they meant it, and at the end of the day, they are looking at somebody like who has what it takes to lead Nigeria. At the end of the day, I'm not sure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has disqualified himself already from the electors' might. The only person they are looking at, we know that Sowore himself, has never been able to win any award, outrightly in
but Mr. Chinedu Michael, I quite understand the angle you're coming from, but let me take you on this because it's school of thought, perhaps from the government angle, political class, the ruling class at the national level, have argued that in the build up to the 2023 presidential general election, that the three major political parties and their candidates, I'm talking of Tinubu himself, Obi of Labour Party, and Atiku of PDP, that the three major leading political parties and their candidates can vouch for subsidy removal on gasoline.
Beautiful.
As such, that they wonder what an Atiku or an Obi would have done differently from what Tinubu is doing now. I think the only difference is perhaps the unification of FS and official money. For those that belong to that school of thought, what is your message to them?
Then how do you go about, you just want to repair a phone, for instance, and you have all the tools to repair the phone, and instead of using screwdriver, you decide to use knife, to fix those things. So Tinubu is actually using the wrong tools, to run those policies, and that is the crisis we are having today. He was able to. He made a wrong choice. He started very wrongly from the beginning, and that is the effect of that wrong beginning is what he's battling for over a year now. And unfortunately, he has not been able to champion a good direction that would have added value to the economy that Nigerians they are going through now. But the fact we are looking at, if you look at somebody like Tinubu deeply, he might not be a good economist, and for him to also get people who are, advanced in matters of nations, how to run national economics and advanced economics, or how to get the ecosystem working perfectly. How to checkmate excesses of the World Bank and IMF policies, burden on some nations and all that. None of them are there. None of you can't see any top the technocrat in Tinubu's cabinet. But that is what somebody article like wouldn't have done. I think to an extent, the article would have seek the best brain in terms of how economy, development economy, commercial economy, political economy, and all these things. It brings cerebral minds in the head who are tested and trusted both at the national and international level. You can't see that. But if you come to where Obi did, or we should talk about how Obi is going to go. Obi has already made it very clear.
Is that angle I want to comment now, because permit me to go in this way personal. Because recently you started a campaign, my Obi is coming. What is the brain behind my Obi is coming?
Yes, let me just make it very clearly. If you go to that YouTube, on Today Media, you discovered that a particular man who I don't want to mention his name, but is one of the people that he came from the southwest. And after so many explanation and experience, family experience and work experience, trying to get work, trying to being a private, self-employed person, trying to struggle over the threatening economy, Tinubu has unleashed on Nigerians, So the only thing he feels that you have at the end of the day, he can see, he can use as a succor, as an observer, to encourage himself, is to tell the whole world my Obi is coming. That tells you that hope is coming. Justice is coming. Relief is coming. 2027, and that's why he came up with the my Obi is coming. So if you go to on Today Media, just my Obi is coming, you see it there. When you listen to that man speak, you understand the direction Nigerians are facing currently.
Okay, let me focus on what transpired yesterday. I think it was all over the media, though from the angle of patriotism, many Nigerians do not want to have so much conversation on it, because we understand that why Mr. President was to mount the is it parade vehicle. Unfortunately, he missed his step. As unfortunate as it is, it happened. Do you think his aides mismanaged the situation?
Yes, I think they did. The same thing we experienced during the inauguration. They struggled. What the president struggled, and the process, the president also almost wobbled on the ground at the end of the day. But if you look at what happened, I think to an extent, the president should be protected, given that maximum protection, as in the security will be able to watch carefully, what the president is doing, what his steps and all that. But you can see how reluctant they are, because at that level, the president is already in a high spirit, trying to mount the vehicle, for the Democracy Day patrol or whatever, or celebration. But you can see that they were taken by surprise, and that was how the president, went on the ground, without any form of rescue or help coming from anybody.
Okay. As unfortunate as it is, it happened. I think the president's handlers can learn from this. But on the final note, before we wrap up this program, there were criticism yesterday that during the celebration, we all know what June 12 stands for. You cannot mention June 12 before without talking of Abiola. But surprisingly, some people said instead of unveiling the statue of Abiola in Abuja yesterday, the statue of the president was unveiled. What could be running in the mind of the president when he decided to allow his statue to be erected instead of the man?
Tinubu is just a lazy psycho. Has surrounded him. Tinubu is showing laziness. He's showing competence in everything. Tinubu is showing, that he allows psychophants, that deco elements, a Miloko sentiment to continue to play along national sentiment. I think that's what is happening. And me, I am not. I have reservations on why they should be able to do that kind of a thing for Tinubu, wasting everything that has to do with national development, or chasing shadows at the end of the day. June 12th, however they look at it, was not actually an Abiola thing. It was a day the nation lost their mandate, and it was built around Abiola. Nobody talked about Humphrey was the INEC chairman who defended that election with his blood at the end of the day. Nobody is saying people like Joe Dumakin, Ghanaian Adams. Now nobody's mentioning those men, who BC Kano them. There's so many of them, who stood, against all form of oppression, and they come out, today to begin to talk about. Like one of the protesters we were saying yesterday, that Tinubu in the recent, was not even involved in that struggle. People that know what happened in that struggle tell you that Tinubu was not even involved. That the only thing he can do was maybe the kind of $1 he was contributing to the day.
Okay, Mr. Chinedu Michael.
But what I want to say in essence is this: if you look at what transpired, what is going on currently in Abuja, they are making mockery, they are making mediocrity of the presidency in Abuja. They are messing up everything that has to do with that executive position. They are ridiculing, the seat of power, in that sort of currently now by Lagos boys.
Okay, let me briefly touch the 2023 general election. We understand that the election has come and gone because the people who feel aggrieved, who were not satisfied with the process, follow through the judiciary up to the highest court of the land. I'm talking about Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court finally affirmed the victory of Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu as declared by the umpire. But surprisingly, more than 1 year after the election, we are not seeing much vigor, much tenacity on the part of opponents pushing through to amend our electoral laws, particularly the area that gives INEC liberty to transmit election results however they feel. Because we understand so many persons during that election saw that as a lacuna that gave INEC the leverage to determine how the election results should be transmitted. And after the election, so many persons have argued that to have free, fair, and credible election in Nigeria, that there's every need to ensure that you remove that discretionary power from INEC and restrict INEC to transmit the election result electronically. Mr. Chinedu Michael, if you are to go into the next round of election with this current electoral act, INEC still possess that discretionary power. Are we likely going to see a free fan?
We are not going to repeat. Nigerians are not going to tolerate that scam, that took place 2023. I'm telling you that, I'm from a reliable source. Nigeria will never tolerate it again. But you can see the effort Ugochinyere Kenga, is putting, trying to make sure that a repeat of that. They are also championing a 6-year term for president for rotation and whatever they're not. So those things are particularly actually articulated in the agenda, and they are taking it very seriously. And I think to some extent, he has passed first reading and second reading and all that. So we are going to see a revolutionized INEC, where our results, our electoral processes will be seen to be, advanced electronically done, automatically done, to the extent that there will be no room for INEC, particularly, if not the judiciary, to determine who and how people should vote, So the legislation process has begun, and I can tell you that what we are going to have next time during the election is going to be, something Nigerians will look back if they did not stop what is going on, the revolution that is going on now. And I believe that somebody like Ugochinyere, Ikenga, that's the man behind it, and he's having the backing of almost all the rep members, and they are pushing forward with it, and as I'm talking to you now, there's no reservation over those things, both the one reforms that are going to take place in the judiciary, in the presidency, INEC, and all the major institutions, that power democracy in this country are going to be revolutionized at the end of the day.
Mr. Chinedu Michael, I must say a very big thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Think this is a good place to let you go, if you permit me.
Thank you.
This is Satellite Media, and this program is Satellite Discourse.
Thank you for having me.
Before I will go, let us recognize, I understand some persons have left on the comment section, but let me say a big thank you to Mr. Ben Torres and Mr. Vovo, there's Volo. I must say a very big thank you for your time, for being a part of this program. We shall be.
Mr. Volo, keep on, keep on watching wherever you're watching us from. It's a good one. God bless you.
It's a program that will be running every day. So we thank you for being part of it. Mr. Chinedu Michael, I must say a big thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.